Silly Billy is first. Like, you can click off the video now. Show's over. It's done. We're done here. Okay. Of course it's first. It's Silly Billy. Like, that's first. Like, what else was gonna beat it? It's over. The Silly Billy is first. You can go home now. Okay, are all the haters gone? Okay, cool. Nice. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, I'm your host Kelpart, and welcome back to Ranked, the series where I rank things. Today on the chopping block, Friday Night Funkin' hit single. This is a fairly interesting one, starting as quite the small little mod, but turning into something so big it's popular outside of FNF thanks to this thing. But on the FNF mod side of things, it's still a pretty good mod overall, having 11 fun songs to play, which, while they have a varying level of quality for me, overall I enjoy most of the songs here. And I mean, come on, this mod almost single-handedly revived the FNF community, so it 100% deserves to be ranked. However, before we get into it, I do actually have an interesting problem in the case of this ranking. That being... Tritorial. This song is going completely unranked, for the simple reason that I just physically cannot play it at all, and since I rank based off of more than just the song, that makes it kind of hard to rank it. It also is just flat out not an FNF song due to the lack of FNF vocals. However, it's a purely instrumental track made by Lifer, which should speak to the level of quality we're dealing with here. I'll mention where it would rank once we get there in the ranking, so make sure to watch out for that. Hi, editing me here. Yeah, I'm just here to talk for a sec. I didn't do that. I didn't, in fact, say where it would rank. So just, like, watch out between number 5 and number 4, because that would be where, that would be it. That would be where it ranks. Between 5 and 4, so watch out for 5 and 4. But with that little problem out of the way, we've got 10 songs to talk about, so let's go ahead and get started with... Number 10, Car's Little Song. This is a D tier song, and to be honest, almost F tier. I hate this dumb little things so much. Oh my god. Car physically upsets me in ways I physically cannot describe. I just want to punt this thing into the freaking sun. I just, like, freaking die! Even with the personal bias out of the way, though, my lord, this isn't fun to listen to. Car just doesn't sound good at all. This instrumental is fine at best, and it's just such a whatever song that I couldn't care less about it if I tried. I don't usually like just being straight up negative towards a song, but this one just leaves me with absolutely nothing. It's also barely over a minute long, which, while normally I'd complain about something like that, I'm just glad it means this one's over quickly. And luckily, that's about it. All I have to say about it. It's just nothing. It's a nothing song with terrible sounding vocals, if you can even call them that. Thankfully, the next two are C tier songs, so at least I've got something to say about them, but this one... I just don't care at all. And the fact that you people actually voted for it in the tournament I held for this mod, I don't understand you people at all. Let's just move on. Number 9, The Power of Pig. Okay, I know I just got done saying that Car's Little Song left me with absolutely nothing, but this one is definitely up there for that title. I don't even mean that in a negative way this time. It's just, this song just barely does anything at all. The instrumental barely exists, and Conan sounds not great, even once shifting to a normal chromatic. Heck, I think the atonals might be more memorable than the normal chromatic. The only thing saving this from D tier or lower for me is Boyfriend's vocals, which admittedly are really well made. They just were unfortunately put in a song that is super forgettable. However, since that's about all I have to say about this song, yeah, I know, this was a really quick entry. I just am going to take a quick second to talk about the engine this mod runs on now, because I figured I need to bring it up eventually, and why not Power of Pig? So, yeah, this mod runs on Nightmare Vision, and to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan. I don't think it looks bad or anything, I know that's a problem a lot of people have with it, but it's mostly just the rating system that physically pains me. It's incredibly harsh, adding a new accuracy level that makes PFCing any song almost impossible. Now, that isn't really gonna hurt any song's ranking overall, since it's definitely not the mod's fault, but it does make playing most charts not nearly as fun or satisfying. You're gonna want to remember this for when I get around to reviewing weekly, by the way, just trust me on that one. Alright, enough ranting about Nightmare Vision, time to get on to the other C tier left, because I actually have a decent amount to talk about with this one. Number 8, Trickle. I did not used to like this one, like, at all. It used to be a low D tier, but in recent times, it's grown on me a bit. I've still got a plethora of problems with it, but overall, this one's not nearly as bad as I used to think it was. Lord X in this song just confuses me so much. That chromatic is just not him at all. It doesn't even bother me that they didn't use the regular Lord X chromatic, but I just don't think this fits him even remotely. It's not like it really matters though, as he just starts singing near the beginning of the song, and doesn't ever stop, which like, what? It's so confusing. I think the singing itself is well done, but I again just think it flat out doesn't fit at all for the most part, and it doesn't really have anything to help carry it to greatness either. The instrumental goes for a more slow and dramatic sound to fit with the singing, which I think would work, but unfortunately it doesn't really do enough to help convey that, feeling more empty than dramatic. Boyfriend also doesn't sound the greatest here. His chromatic is pitched down in a really weird way, but it's not just that. It's almost bit crushed in a way as well, and it all just combines to not feel great to listen to. With that being said, there are certain moments in here where I feel like everything does come together. The instrumental finally picks up, and the vocal performance from Lord X really does hit hard in this section. It's just that, unfortunately, all the bad parts of the song weigh down these admittedly great sections. Outside of that, the chart's fine, it's whatever I guess, and the art sure does exist. I like how Lord X looks, but it's kinda lame just being in a white void. The next Lord X song is definitely better, which, speaking of being better, onto the B tiers, starting with Number 7, Brr, I'm Cold. Okay, so I feel like most people don't even know what this song is. Like, be honest with me here. Did you even know this song existed? And, I mean, I don't blame you if you didn't. You have to go through several hoops in Cringe 47 to unlock this song, which is part of the reason I almost flat out disqualified this one as well. However, it is still an FNF song at the end of the day, and honestly, a surprisingly decent one at that. The beginning really starts out strong with a nice, slower pace. I have actually no idea what either of these creatures are called, or what they're from, but the first one has such a nice chromatic to listen to. The second one, they kind of kill the song for me. Their bass chromatic is alright, but the random noises they just end up making are not pleasant to listen to at all. That's not the only problem here though. My main issue is that I just wish they went further with this one. It was just a random joke song made in literally 2 days, but I feel like with more time and effort, this one could have been something absolutely incredible. They just didn't try at all, and we got just a random whatever song with a decent amount of promise in it. The vocals could have been a little nicer, the instrumental really could have reflected that more chill tone more, and for the love of God, please just take out those awful noises. I hate the thing that this creature does. Beyond that, there's not too much else to talk about with this one. Heck, it's another really short one, so I've already probably looped the footage by now. So let's move on to the last smaller song before we get to the big 5. That being said, number 6, So Retro. Guys, it's so retro! Oh my god, it's so retro! It's so retro! It's so retro! It's so retro! So retro! This one really did have a shot at making it to the top 5. Like, that's not a joke. I'm gonna be real, this almost beat number 5. This is another one of those cases where the song itself is clearly just a joke the devs threw in there, and for half of it, it really does feel that way. The instrumental is very one-note, Mario's chromatic is obviously a joke, if you can even call it that, and Boyfriend actually sounds pretty good here. But that's not just it, because about halfway through the song, Mario gets a real chromatic, and it is used shockingly well. Specifically this one melody he sings, just listen to this for a second. It's honestly really, really well done. Unfortunately, this is still just a random short joke song at the end of the day without too much to say for it, so I'm just gonna move on to the last B tier we've got, which, honestly, I know a few of you really like this one, so it may be a surprise to see it all the way in B tier. Number 5, Joyous. Oh hey guys, look who's back. And thank goodness he's got his normal chromatic back. I've never actually got to mention it on this channel, but I actually really love how Lord X's chromatic sounds. Something about the scratchiness to it is just really appealing for some reason. The player's chromatic also sounds pretty good, although it does play into the main issue I have with this song. But first, the instrumental. It's alright. Specifically around the Green Hill phase and the ending fast section, but everything else is overall just kinda bland, which actually plays into the problem as well. I think everything in this song sounds pretty good, it's just that nothing for it is memorable at all. I like the opening melody, the transition to Green Hill, and then the last minute or so of music. Beyond that, however, there's just nothing all too memorable about any of the melodies, meaning this song has no lasting impact on me whatsoever. It's not helped by the fact that this song is over 6 minutes long. Again, I really do like those last 2 minutes or so of the song, but it's just a little bit of a slog to get there, making it not really all too worth it to listen to. I do still enjoy the song, it's just not really something I would go out of my way to listen to. The visuals, though. The visuals do look really cool. Lord X looks like a full 3D model, having textured fur and everything. It's just such a cool concept, and the changing sprites and backgrounds throughout the song helps keep it look interesting at least. But honestly, that's about it for Joyous. Just a song that I wish was more memorable to me, but it just never has stuck with me like it has for so many of you out there. However, now with that done, we're jumping all the way to S tier songs. I know, not a single A tier. How fun. And both of these S tier songs are incredible, and we're both so close to S+. So let's see what we've got in store. Number 4, Erst. You know, it's kind of funny to me that we went from Joyous, one of the songs that I don't get why it has so much love for it, to Erst, the most overlooked song in this mod. Like, it is so painfully overlooked, it is not even funny. This was the main addition to the mini update in September, and unfortunately very few people talked or even saw this song. It's such a shame too, because this one is almost perfection for me. It's a smaller song based off of The Binding of Isaac, and while I don't really understand what's going on since I've never played or seen the game myself, I've been told from fans of the game that it fits the vibe of the game perfectly, and I definitely understand that. It kind of has a dungeon-y feel to it, and I know that doesn't make much sense, but I don't really know how else to describe how this song sounds. The instruments used here have a dungeon-y feel to them, which just feels right for a roguelike game. Boyfriend sounds incredible here, and I really like how the Cursed was used in this song. Everything here just sounds complete. It's got a ton going on without feeling too overwhelming, and it just all comes together to sound amazing, with the main melody being the absolute best example of this. Like, freaking listen to this main melody. If it weren't for parts in both second and first place, this would honestly be the best part of the mod. It is so good sounding. The only tiny thing holding Erst back for me is the lack of memorability, similar to Joyous. While I did just praise the main melody for being amazing, besides that, there aren't really that many memorable turns here, which, while it makes them really fun to listen to, again, I think all of them sound really, really good. It doesn't leave as much of an impact as I would like. Honestly, I remember the instrumental here more, which definitely is a good thing, but again, I really wish the vocals were just a bit more memorable. And it's kind of unfair to compare the two, because this instrumental might honestly be one of my favorites from all of FNF. That being said, even if it is slightly unmemorable, an S tier is still incredible at the end of the day, which is no different for the next one. Number 3, Fake Baby. I was extremely tempted to put this one below Erst. I really was. Erst just left such an incredible impression on me, and I really do think it's incredibly underrated. But yeah, No More Innocent songs are just always peak, so this one absolutely won. It's really bizarre that I cover a mod with Daddy Dearest songs back to back, although comparing this to Misconception is like comparing the power of a toddler to the power of the literal sun. Daddy Dearest just sounds so much more prominent here, making it an infinitely less boring song than Misconception was. No More Innocence of course sounds great, as he always does in songs. I wasn't kidding when I said he is always amazing. NMI songs just have some sort of power to always be amazing. This is also where the classic Sturm intensity shines through, especially in the instrumental. I cannot wait to cover mods like Crunch and YTP, Monster of Monsters, heck, even Cringe Copy to a certain extent, so I can talk about how much this man just makes every song so intense and heavy-hitting with the instrumentals. They are all so well made, it's honestly kinda crazy to think about. The ending of this song specifically, it just kicks in with the opening melody, leading to an intense showdown between Daddy Dearest and No More Innocence. And that instrumental ending, it's such a nice way to end the song. With the dramatic art and instrumental, God, it's so good! Speaking of the art in this song, they went so hard with the visuals for like no reason, going for a more pencil realistic style for the main section of the song, and it is just pure eye candy to look at. The ending is also pretty cool, transitioning to the regular FNF style. This ending also has some mod chart in it, which normally, I know I like to complain about mod chart because I don't think it's very fun to play, but for the most part, it's shockingly well used here. I know, crazy. It's not too much, and the chart is still pretty readable, but this is done without sacrificing the overall effect the mod chart adds visually. There's just one smaller issue with the song, and it's the same thing as Erst. The middle just has a few sections that aren't too memorable for me, but unlike Erst, there are more turns that are more memorable to me, which ultimately is what made me put this song higher. But with this one done, all we've got left are the top two, which means there's only one song left before I can prove I wasn't lying about Silly Billy being first. Now, what's left? Well, let's jump to S+ and find out. Number 2, Boulder Brash. Silly Billy was always going to be first. That was just a given, I told you that at the start of the video. But I won't lie, Boulder Brash put up quite the fight. And no, I'm not calling it by the other name. I know that it's technically not called Boulder Brash, and I know Boulder Brash is going to become something different later down the line. I get that. Thank you, comment section, very much for pointing it out loud to me. I understand that. I just don't want to say this out loud. Can you give me that at least, please? I beg. But going back to the actual FNF song, pretty much everything I said about previous songs are true here as well. Krabs and Squidward sound amazing, especially at the more dramatic sections of the song, which, speaking of, this song honestly might be more finale sounding than Silly Billy. It is so dramatic. With the beat drop, oh man. That might honestly be one of the hardest hitting beat drops in literally all of FNF ever. And said beat drop leading into an altered version of the starting theme, something I love when songs do, it's so nice. The thing that really helped put this one above Erst and Fake Baby for me, even up into S+, was the fact that it's just so memorable. Again, with those two songs, they sound incredible and very well could be S+. It's just, this one's not incredibly long, and it's got a lot of sections that help keep it interesting, whether that be the beginning, the instrument part, the build-up, the beat drop, all of it is so great, and I just remember all of it. Speaking of, the instruments are a really interesting thing to add here, and I like how both the violin and clarinet sound. If there were one thing I would critique here, it would probably be the instrumental though. Again, something had to put this below Silly Billy. For the most part, it's amazing, but specifically the ending, I just wish there was a tiny bit more going on. Again, what we have is still really, really good. I just feel like there was room for a tiny bit more to be added. Still, this is a masterclass of a song, which is shocking, since it's one of the first songs added to the mod, and is based off of Fight or Flight for Mistful Crimson Morning, which I get to most people might not sound like a deadly combination, but for me, who thinks MCM is overrated, hates Fight or Flight, and this being an older song, yeah, this is a killer trio for this to still be an amazing song. Unfortunately, it just got stuck in the same mod as Silly Billy. Like, what are we even waiting for? Do we even need to roll the title card Silly Billy's first? Come on, let's make it snappy. Number 1, Silly Billy. Okay, like, seriously, what did you expect from me? It is literally the FNF song of the year! Like, everyone's always talking about what mod of the year should be, but we should really also be doing that for song of the year, and which this one just kinda wins. Silly Billy is the FNF song. And no, that doesn't make it my favorite FNF song by any stretch, but if you ask someone who barely knows anything about FNF, they'd still probably know what this song is. If I'm being honest, the only reason I set out to make this video was just to talk about this song specifically. Like, yeah, sure, in the process I found amazing songs like Boulder Brash, Fake Baby, Erst. All of them are so good, and I'm so glad that I ended up making this video and getting to talk about them. But I mainly just wanted an excuse to talk about this song, because oh my god, this one is crazy and amazing, and I think you all know that by this point, but like, it's Silly Billy! Like, I mean, it deserves all the attention it gets. It absolutely nails everything in every aspect perfectly. The art here is just really nice looking. Yourself has such a cool design, especially once you realize that it's based off some really cool sources. Boyfriend also has an awesome custom sprite that looks awfully familiar. Where have I seen this before? Yeah, they got Marco Antonio to work on this song. Like, yeah, that Marco Antonio, the Mario's Madness guy. Which, if that doesn't already prove how amazing this song is, then the music most certainly will. The instrumental is just pure rock the whole time, and I adore it so much. Boyfriend's chromatic here is so unique sounding, and it really helps the song stand out among other top songs, with Yourself also sounding pretty nice. It's almost like each chromatic was built specifically around the song itself, because I feel like these wouldn't work too well anywhere else, and yet here they're incredible. That's helped by the transition into Phase 2, where Yourself switches into a smaller, more Boyfriend mimic-like form. I really like the chromatic change here, and the added difficulty to the chart is really nice. His transition back to the normal is smooth, being another reference to what this is based off of, which I'll talk about in a bit, but this section in between the short phase and the ending is just pretty nice. It doesn't do a whole lot, and is probably the weakest part of the song for me, but I still think it's really, really good and a really nice rock section. And all of this would be nice and good, right? I mean, the song up to this point is a super solid song, probably already worthy of S+, I already love it, and I'm sure that nothing else will completely change my mind on that. Yeah, so the last minute and a half of this song is literally just the peak of this community. I know I say that a lot, but it's the end of Silly Billy. Like, I would show you the lyrics, but I'm sure every single one of you watching this video has already heard them at least a dozen times, and for good reason. These are some of the absolute best FNF lyrics, only really contended by a couple of things for me, like All Stars and Hell Valley Emix. No, what I want to mention is The Last Turn, because it's overall pretty overlooked, considering, you know, it follows that. It ends on such a perfect note, with the instrumental losing almost all of its intensity and everything just feeling like Yourself used up all of his energy on the lyrics and has just given up at this point. It feels so desperate. I absolutely adore how this song ends. It is one of my favorite turns in all of FNF, and it's just unfortunately overlooked by, you know. With this ending, the song is just one of the best and most perfect FNF songs of all time, and that's just by itself. This song is again responsible for practically reviving the entire FNF community, bringing back so many people into this beloved game and drawing in many new players as well. And as for what it's based on, this is a love letter to Divide, a person in the FNF community who unfortunately passed away after working on some really early FNF mods, notably Sonic.exe version 2. This is just such a nice thing, really feeling like an end of an era in FNF. Like, a song based off of a member that died working on one of the earliest FNF mods. It just feels really nice. This whole song really did just close the book on an era of FNF, and it means a lot to so many people. It is easily one of the most important FNF songs ever made, and that cannot be understated. Truly an amazing song. See, I told you Silly Billy was gonna be first. So, outro time. And final thoughts? Really, really good mod. Like Car's Little Song and The Power of Pig kinda hurt this one for me, but the highs definitely outweigh the lows. I would definitely recommend playing this if you somehow haven't already. Links in the description below. Oh, and if you're curious, here's the tier list. Not really much to say about it, I already kinda talked about where everything's placed, and, you know, solid mod. Like it. Now, as for what's next, I think I've got enough time to squeeze in one more mod at the end of the year, and since the last 4 rankings have been on the dark side of things, let's lighten up the mood a bit with a more positive mod. One that I love and has one of the most solid OSTs of any mod in my opinion. And while I don't want to reveal the exact mod yet, you get to guess that, let's just say that this one is a little more pixelated than other mods I've covered. But besides that, everything else will run as normal for the rest of the year, so with all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, then why not subscribe? Yep, we're already at the shilling part. I've really been trying to get videos out more often, and every little bit of support from you all helps a ton. Like, comment, turn on notifications, all the good stuff, and don't forget, I've got a couple links in the description for some fun stuff, like my Twitter and Blue Sky that I post on occasionally, or the Discord server where you can chat about all kinds of things with some pretty cool people, including myself. But with all that being said, I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!